in every 10 people, 3 people are likely to be lonely. 2 of them are here, so you could be the third one. Hi everyone, welcome to your second episode of Getting Real with Kushal. This is Aditya, and today's topic is
loneliness and introverts, the extrovert, people, independence, and yeah, basically
everything
everything
that
that revolves
revolves around
around it.
loneliness.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
so
why don't you start?
because I'm the lonelier person out of the two of us, so
No
I'll
comments.
take the lead.
Yes, sir.
How do you get out of loneliness?
Okay. So I read somewhere that loneliness can be addictive, and it's true in my case. So growing up, it just became a habit, to kind of indulge in myself.
So you enjoyed being
I
lonely.
started enjoying my own company, and so I went from being lonely to putting myself in solitude. So right now, I only hang out with people when I want to, when I feel like it.
So it's the like you enjoy your own company
A lot.
and you don't feel the need to indulge
uh,
in social
Exactly,
connections.
exactly.
So
I mean, I
that's
do that only when I want to or when I'm supposed to.
yeah.
It's not like I have
It's
to do this every day.
it's not a need, it's a want.
Exactly.
So it's just that's being
Independent.
yeah, that's being hyper independent. Another problem Aditya needs to deal with.
But let's deal with this now.
Yeah,
Loneliness.
so hyper independent. Yeah, you dealt with it that way. Like for other people, for me, in my case, it was always like I always have some sort of a place where I feel safe. I confide in someone. Like you feel lonely. For example, if you feel lonely in a friends group,
Hmm.
you confide to someone in your
Family. Yeah.
if you're feeling lonely when you're in your family, I did not feel that way. But
You
like
confide into a friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically putting egg from taking it from this basket and putting it in another where things
Exactly.
don't matter. Like if example you have a school friend
Hmm.
and you are feeling lonely in your college space, you confide to someone in them.
Hmm.
You start changing the people you hang out with.
Hmm.
You start like if there is a problem and there is a root to it and you need to sort it out and then everything will be fine, you need to sort it out
Hmm.
and go ahead and be what the thing was earlier, or else what you need to do is you need to change the place you are in.
Yeah.
I know it will be hard breaking ice and trying to meet this whole new set of people. You need to get comfortable with them and everything. That is a lot of process.
Yeah.
Like after you tend to get lonely and even when you have tried everything and the thing is still there, like you're still in it,
Mhm.
then it turns toxic, and if it is taking a toll on you, it's better to change the place you are in and get out of it and basically try to hang out with a whole new bunch of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about how to get out of it.
Do you want to talk about independence and hyper independence?
Yeah,
If you have
hyper
anything to say.
independence. You can just look into the person sitting beside me. Hyper independence is being more independent than a person needs
To be.
I mean, it's funny how society puts boundaries on how you need to be. Like, I find it amusing that what you feel this is normal and this isn't normal. Like society tends to put this, like you aren't supposed to feel this way, but I am.
Yeah.
Like they label it as a problem. The way I see it is, yeah, you have the tendency to feel that way. The problem is you feeling more of it.
Yeah.
The intensity is the problem. Like if you are, for example, obsessed, you are obsessed, and yeah, it is a like why label it as a problem? That's just
Yeah.
the way you are. What you need to notch it down is the intensity of it. Like if the intensity goes down, it isn't a problem. So labeling it is also sort of weird for
Weird.
me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it's just my perspective. And yeah, independence is basically the normal thing where what society considers as normal. Independence is you being, you loving yourself, you staying in your company
Yeah.
and enjoying yourself, and indulging in social interactions, social connections,
Yeah.
and having a certain ratio which is considered to be nice.
Yeah.
Like independence is that, hyper independence is again, yeah, you basically. And I
So
don't
now
know
I'm
if
the
it is
definition of
a,
hyper independence.
yeah, true, you are like,
Okay.
every time I make plans, it is you who makes it.
I'm sorry, man. I have chores to take care of.
And yeah, that is also, I
Yeah,
don't
that's
say,
one more thing about being a hyper independent person. We create work for ourselves out of nothing. Like
Yeah.
just to keep ourselves busy and not to go hang out with people.
yeah, exactly, people. And that is nice in some cases, that is something you are supposed to do when you are lonely.
Yeah. You know what? It also makes you lose out on a lot of things. Sometimes
What?
you lose a lot of people. I mean, if they're not as good and as considerate as they just like, oh yeah, let's leave him behind.
Yeah, they
That
tend
happens.
to they tend to do that, right? The person behind the camera must know of certain situations where this has happened.
What do you think is the link between being alone and loneliness?
Like, being alone is you being alone by choice, and you, some part of it is actually you being lonely, but you tend to realize it at a later point of time, or you don't feel that way, you
Okay.
being in denial
Yeah.
about it. And yeah, being lonely is you wanting to have something, and you craving for a social connection, and you don't feel included, or you
Yeah.
feel left out, or you feel pushed out.
Yeah.
And it is something which you can't control. Like, you can control it, but you can't control it. It is complex, and it boils down to the situation you are in, and it is so personal. Like,
Yeah.
it is so personalized. Being lonely for me is different, being lonely for another person is different.
Yeah.
It is personalized. Like, it depends on the situation, basically. Like, what do you feel?
I think being alone eventually turns out into loneliness. It may not be, it may not make sense in a broader number of people, but to me it feels like that. For example, just name a country or any random country.
Ireland.
Give it another go.
Japan.
See, so Japan is a country where the social welfare is really good.
Yeah,
So-
it is a developed country.
Yeah, so it's a developed country. But it's surprising to know that Japan stands at the third position in the top 10 loneliest countries.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised to know that UK is in the list and Sweden tops the list. So,
And Sweden is considered as a country which has a lot of luxury to offer.
exactly.
And some of the richest countries
Exactly.
in the world.
So the point that I'm trying to make is when a country is developed and when it has a lot of things to offer for a people, for an individual, he doesn't want the need of being with a lot of people.
No, that's not the case. Like, you feeling that way is fine, I guess. But why would you feel that the people, like, the countries you mentioned and the people in it, why do you think they are
Living
lonelier?
alone. Why do you think they're
Lonelier.
lonelier? First thing, Japan doesn't have space. So people literally live in matchbox apartments, shoebox apartments.
That's just being cozy.
No, there's not enough space for two people
See,
in
I'll
an
tell you.
apartment.
I'll tell you why people tend to feel lonelier in countries which are as developed as Japan, US, UK, or any country that for that matter. People living in developed countries tend to have a lot less problems than the people living in countries like India.
Hmm.
Like, in India, you need to deal with a whole new set of problems which are on your priority list.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get the time, or you are lonely, but you don't get to prioritize being lonely because you need to put food at your table at the end of the day.
Yeah. There are other problems that
Yeah, there are bigger fish to fry,
Huh.
basically. So underdeveloped country, it's not that underdeveloped countries are all cozy and all of
Yeah.
them are nice, nobody is lonely.
Yeah.
It's just that people in underdeveloped countries have a lot of they don't
Problems.
get to prioritize. Like,
Yeah.
you see people talking about mental health,
Hmm.
you see people talking about so much right now.
Hmm.
Why do you think it is happening right now? Like, don't you think people
People were going through that.
long time ago, like it has existed for ages? You
Yeah.
feeling lonely
Yeah.
isn't an evolution of some sort.
Exactly.
You are feeling lonely. People in the past have also felt lonely,
Yeah.
because there were bigger things at that point of time.
I'm sorry, but the first man on earth might have felt the loneliest.
Yeah, until he found her. If
Okay,
you're a
so
Christian, you
I'm
relate
sorry
to
to
it.
cut you off. Please
Yeah.
continue.
So the point is that and there are going to be problems.
Yeah.
People might call these first world problems. For someone who doesn't have food to eat in the night, who is going through a lot,
Yeah.
you being anxious, you being you
True.
going through some sort of mental issue
True.
might feel like a child's play.
True.
Like
True,
every
true,
problem
true.
to one's own self is a big problem, and you don't get to judge like what's a bigger problem. Everybody's problem is a problem.
Yeah.
It's just that people nowadays are being more aware about it,
Yeah.
and people are having the luxury of getting to understand that this is what it is.
Yeah.
And we have so much, like everything is so evolved, everything is so developed, Dala. So it puts the focus, like I don't know if it is the right place, but because there aren't much things to worry about, like in ancient times you used to have to go to war. If you are residing in a state and your king calls you, there is no other option.
Yeah.
For you either rot
You
in a
have to
jail.
pick up the sword.
Yeah, you either rot in a jail or go to war. Like the level of problems have come down.
I get where you're
down.
going. So you're trying to say that there were a lot of problems that people had to face, and this just didn't feel like important enough. And right now, as they keep on going down,
Yeah.
we started prioritizing this.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very nicely put.
How is being an introvert or an extrovert related to loneliness and social relationships, social dynamic as such?
No. See, firstly, we have to get it out of our minds that an introvert is always lonely, an extrovert is never lonely.
Yeah,
We have
that
to
is
get it
a
out.
stereotype.
Exactly.
One stereotype.
Exactly. But I feel that people who are introvert tend to be lonelier compared to the extroverts, because I withdraw myself from having a conversation, I withdraw myself from having a social interaction. So I start getting comfortable in my own shell
Yeah, until you become uncomfortable.
until I become uncomfortable, and that's when I realize that this is loneliness.
Yeah, true. Like you just being a shy personality, you being nice. Introverts are usually nice.
Nice.
Like they don't tend to have awkward conversations, which are very important
Yeah.
for social friendship or whatever it is to
Your social image.
yeah, whatever it is to succeed or go smoothly.
Yeah.
Like if you are not expressing what you are feeling at that point of time, you tend to keep it to yourself until the problem becomes so big that the question which you have is, where do I start?
Yeah.
Like if there is a problem, there is a start to it and there's an end to it. Like people can't just because you are having a bad day, like if you're lonely or sad at a certain point of a day, if I come and ask you why are you feeling this way, because I don't know the backstory to it, you will be like, why bother?
Yeah.
I have to go through all of it for him to understand what point I am in or what point I am at right now. So being introvert is like you tend to keep it to yourself, and until it grows big, and then it becomes so uncomfortable that you tend to get lonely because you haven't dealt with the problems, and other people don't bother to ask unless they are an extrovert. And other people don't bother to ask whether you are feeling this way. It's just that because you are an introvert, you are considered, yeah, he's like that, there's no problem with him, there is no change, that's just who he or she is.
Yeah.
Include everyone. Extrovert is usually people who are extroverts are better communicators. I tend to feel this way.
Yeah.
Like I am an extrovert until the ice until the ice breaks. I'm an introvert. Like for the ice to break,
Yeah.
until the ice break, it's awkward and
So you are an ambivert.
yeah, you could bipolar. You could label it that,
Yeah.
but I am uncomfortable until the ice breaks,
Yeah.
and after the ice breaks, I'm one of the most comfortable persons you would
Be around.
hang out with.
Yeah. So the two of us are sitting here like we are strangers to each other. You won't talk until and unless I come and start a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it is
then
awkward
you
for
take
me
over
to
the
start
conversation.
conversations. The anxiety
Yeah.
or something. How do I start? What
Yeah.
would he or she feel? All of it is,
Yeah.
going back in my head. So yeah.
So to
and-
sum this up, both introverts and extroverts can be lonely in life.
yeah, anybody and everybody can be lonely. It's not.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for the video. I mean, we've spoken until our mental capacity is drained out completely.
Yes.
And we've found things which revolve around loneliness. And just because we are living in a digital age, we are more aware of things like this which the people in the previous generations did not have access to.
Yeah.
Like people's feelings are acknowledged. You tend to see a lot more people you look up to are going through the same things as you are. So it is a nice time to be alive, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone's going through something or the other, and loneliness is just one of it. So if
You
you
just
are,
have to be kind.
yeah, you have to be kind to your friends, and if you are lonely, reach out to your friends. If you aren't lonely, reach out to your friends who might be lonely and you
Always
don't know
check
of
on
it.
them.
Yeah, check up on them. Check up on them, not just to check up on them, check up on them nicely so that they tend to open up in front of you.
Yes.
I mean,
And so that's a wrap for the second episode. We hope you enjoyed it and keep waiting for the third one.
and like, share, and subscribe to the video and share it with your friends who are lonely. I'm just kidding.
This is
Please
not
do
go-
share it
the
with people who
laugh-
aren't lonely
The
also.
laugh won't go.
Yeah.
On
So yeah, that's it. Bye.